Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another RC Conspiracies. We're here to talk about something not much of a conspiracy anymore, at least not what it's going to be, but maybe kind of why they chose to do what they did. And we are talking about the Traxxas Maxx, which is really hard to say. It feels like it needs a letter in front of it, like a T or an E or an X. But it doesn't. It's just a baby Max. And so we're going to be talking about that little guy today. He's not that little. And going over kind of some of the specs on it. I know a lot of you guys have been seeing it. Some of you guys maybe are blind and haven't been keeping up with what's going on. And so you're behind on all of the news that kind of hit us at about 11, I think, this morning. It was 11 o'clock. And the world was saturated with the Max from Traxxas. And it looks pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. I think it's a pretty rad looking truck for what it is. And so we're going to talk about that. And so I've got with me today, I've got Matt from RC Overload. And so we're going to pull him in here and just talk for a second about what he's got going on. And then we're going to get into the Max and some other things that have been announced recently in the RC world. So everybody, welcome Matt. And that video is really zoomed in for some reason on you. Let me just make a quick adjustment here live. For some reason it changed. We've been in there talking and then something changed. So Matt,
something always changes.
Why don't you tell everybody, while I get this all fixed up, what you've got going on over at RC Overload and what you've got coming this year toward the end of the year.
Oh boy. Well, what's going on, you guys? How's everybody doing? I know a lot of you guys haven't seen much of me or my channel this summer. I do apologize about that. Been super busy, been doing a ton of stuff around my house, but that doesn't mean I haven't been doing a bunch of stuff RC-wise. As far as RC-wise goes, you guys may notice the studio area has changed a bit. I have my entire computer set up now down here, which means not only is it going to make filming and editing videos easier, but I also am going to be bringing, like what Tony's doing, just a little bit different, live streams every Saturday morning for general chat, kind of get caught up in the hobby and just chat with you guys. Not only that, but I got a whole bunch of running videos going on. I'm working on some tutorial videos as well. I mean, there's a ton of stuff going on here that just, it's overload.
That is awesome to hear. I know that when I first started in the hobby, your channel was one of the first ones that I started watching because you had a whole bunch of the tutorial videos, and I literally knew nothing about how to work on these little machines that we call RCs. And so, yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from you back in the SCX10 days and so many of the builds that you were doing. Yeti.
Oh, the Yetis. Yes, I'm well known for the Yetis. I even actually just got a question the other day about the Yeti builds, and somebody's like, hey, you still got your Yetis? I got a question about them. I'm like, no, I got rid of those a while back, but what's your question?
You can probably answer it anyway, right?
Oh, absolutely. I always do. I try my hardest to answer everybody's question.
All right, so we do have some people in the chat. A lot of people saying, what is up? Jake Raymond, Swampers RC saying, how's it going? People talking about the baby Max. Midlife RC says, you've been MIA.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Midlife. I apologize, but don't worry. You guys will start seeing videos here, hopefully by the end of the week. I am working on one right now. I still got some more filming to do, a little bit of editing to do on it. So if it's not out by this Friday, you guys will most definitely see it next week. That's for sure.
Yeah. That is cool, man. Hey, Scott's in here saying I'm an insider, saying I'm in with the RC companies. Every time I talk about something new comes out with the conspiracies on the day of. That ain't the truth, man.
Nope.
I had no idea what was coming out today. I honestly thought it was going to be, well, I really wanted it to be a solid axle monster truck, but I kind of thought it might be something like a smaller X-maxx because the E-maxx kind of disappeared, and it, in my opinion, was kind of outdated. And the coolest truck that everybody loves right now that they have in the monster truck world is their X-maxx. So it's kind of a cool idea, but we'll get into that in just a second. So yeah, we've got several people in here. Somebody's saying we're a tiny bit quiet. Maybe just me. So yeah, Matt, let's go ahead and let's talk about the RC conspiracies here for 1 second. We'll pull up a picture. I know that you're on a delay just the way that we have to do this, so I'll kind of get the photo up. But first, what we'll be looking at is going to be RC Conspiracies page, because today we were on this thing a lot this morning and just talking a lot about conspiracies. You were in there as well. You pointed some stuff out to me that I hadn't seen, and some of your friends at hobby shops were at this, what is it, the National...
I'm not even sure what it is, honestly, that they were going to. I just know it was a huge meetup for a whole bunch of hobby store owners to go see some of the newest stuff that's coming out. And I know Traxxas was one of the biggest companies as far as showing stuff, and that's what they were all going for. But as some of you guys know from some of my videos, Sean from Reckless Hobbies, the owner of Reckless Hobbies, he went out there, and that's where I got to see a lot of the spy shots kind of before Traxxas even put anything up.
And we posted a bunch of those over to the RC Conspiracist page. And so we posted some stuff last night just saying that this was going to happen. We didn't know what Traxxas was going to be bringing. I kind of was teasing what I hoped it would be. And so they had different pictures of like the camera with the no camera, like no taking pictures sign on a projector. And then, of course, somebody took a picture of that, which is absolutely hilarious, first of all. But, you know, we're trying to guess. I was kind of hoping, you know, and part of what I try and do with these is tell the companies what we want. And I really would like to see them come out with a semi-truck. Like, yes, ready to run.
You were telling me about that last night. That would be a cool idea.
Okay, so I'm not maybe the only person. Everyone's like, they're never going to do that.
No. Hey, you never know. They might just watch this video and be like, oh, that's a cool idea. Let's look into it.
So, you know, you get a whole bunch of kids. You know, I grew up wanting to be a trucker when I was a kid. You'd see those big semi-trucks going down the road, and it's like, man, I want to drive one of those.
Yep.
So we've got that market. You know, the guys that want to be on Loading Wars, which is something else I want to do. Like, get one of those and then just drive right on up to Canada, knock on the door at Medic's place and be like, hey, can I be on a Loading Wars?
That would be awesome.
But, yeah, so I was just kind of teasing that it might be that. I knew it wasn't going to be. And then on one of my other pages, I had a picture of a few things. Let me see if I can find that. On Instagram, I don't know if you saw it today, Matt, but I posted like the 6x6 summit with the little alien guy in it and said it could happen. So it's just doing a whole bunch of like teaser stuff. You know, it wasn't going to be that. But it was a funny picture I pulled up of a Traxxas 6x6 because...
Could you imagine a 6x6 summit with their tracks setups?
That actually would be pretty cool.
I think that'd be an awesome idea.
Now, you said you like the summit. I've never found out what the purpose of the summit is.
I like the summit, I think, a lot just because it is basically a Revo. More for the crawling off-road, you know, rock crawling type thing without it being so slow as like a scale crawler. So you had the mix of it being a basher, but then you could just hit the trails with it at the same time. But I also have always loved the Revo platform, and that's basically what it is a Revo with just different rockers on it to give it that extra height. I mean, you could easily take the Summit rockers, put it on a Revo, and then call it now a Nitro Summit if you really wanted to.
Okay.
Yep.
Still, I'm not sure what I'd use it for, but
yeah,
I get it. Like, I see people crawling with the Summit, and I'm like, it's like when they took the Primal RC out for the first time, and they were like crawling in the woods with it. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah,
it's a monster truck.
Yep.
Jump something already. Crush a car.
I mean, do you remember way back? I mean, we're talking years and years back when the Revo kind of first came out, the Nitro Revo came out. They Traxxas created a blog post on the Revo where you could customize it with a few different tweaks, some gearing changes, and some different tires, and it actually became a Nitro rock crawler. It didn't perform as great as like a scale truck, but it actually crawled over rocks and everything like that. And that's kind of what got my interest in the Revo and got me into the crawling scene a little bit, like got my mind thinking, you know, getting a Tamiya kit, however you want to pronounce it. But that's kind of where it all started for me as far as the rock crawling and getting into Revos and stuff like that goes.
And so you're rock crawling with a Revo.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, my very
Wow.
first Revo 3.3, after seeing that blog post, like I tried to do that same setup. I mean, I no longer have that Revo, obviously, but that's where it all stemmed for me.
Wow. I got the Revo and I immediately tried to do backflips. I was like straight away, Revo into the sky. I want to see you flip. And that was it. So this is the semi truck. I of course chose one that looked like it had flames and stuff that maybe Traxxas would actually ever think about doing. And so it's kind of like the Optimus Prime almost. It already have kind of that built-in audience as well, because Traxxas goes for that, which is very smart. They are some of the smartest business savvy people in the RC world. I think that what they are looking toward and what will sell, I think they've got a pretty good pulse for it.
I mean, I almost wonder if Traxxas was to make a semi truck, I bet you it could do pretty well, honestly.
Yeah, it would have to tow things though. Like, it would have to have a trailer line available.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, could you just imagine the trailer line? Like, you could have like hundreds of different options that you could just pick from.
Yeah. And the lighting kits on it, they would just do it. I mean, to the nines, man.
Oh man, you could get chrome kits for it.
I'm drooling right now, thinking about what Traxxas could do with it.
Traxxas, get on this.
Midlife RC wants us to tell Traxxas though it's time for a 1/5 scale snowmobile. Now that seems like it's a very limited market.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'd try to get one. I'm not gonna lie.
You could ride kids on it probably for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, because it's got a seat and handlebars.
Right.
Strap them on and send it.
That'd be a cool YouTube video.
Ryland Lindsay wants a shout out. Joseph Chanot says a solid axle monster truck from Traxxas. That's somewhat scale in the size of our quads or SMTs would be a dream come true. And so that was the next tease that I had, was a picture of a real full-size, full-scale Bigfoot, because Traxxas has Bigfoot licensing. They've already got Bigfoot bodies, old and new. All they need to do, in my opinion, is slap a solid axle system underneath that instead of a Stampede, which, don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of the Stampede two-wheel drive, and even the four-wheel drive. But the four-wheel drive, they don't put the scale monster truck tires on it, and I prefer the Stampede two-wheel drive look because it looks like it's a scale monster truck, even though it's independent.
Yeah, I mean, and to kind of go off of that, I was actually, I mean, like you said, I like the Stampede. I think it's a great platform, for anybody just looking for a general basher. I was really disappointed when they said that, that they had the Bigfoot body, but it wasn't a solid axle. Like, I was all excited to see it, and then I find out it's just a Stampede with a different body. I was like, oh, come on, really?
Right. Well, that's what the whole Monster Jam lineup was, that they lost to Axial, and then they went to Bigfoot. Josh Digg Rhodes says it's called Max for maximum disappointment. I said, oh, Max D. Oh, that's my fish channel one. How did I sign into that? But Honey Walnut RC is saying he doesn't understand why they're not getting into the scale stuff. Now, Traxxas did have me fooled, because if you think about their last releases, what have they all been?
They've been scale.
They've been scale.
Yeah.
And so I really kind of thought that they were going to do it.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, like you and I were talking last night. We were contemplating what this thing was going to be, and I mean, that was definitely one thing I was thinking about all night, is that it was going to be something scale. And I was actually taken back a little bit, realizing what it was today, but at the same time being very excited about it at the same time,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of their most exciting cars that they have anyway, right? Is the X-maxx.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so many people want it. Like, whenever you see the videos that I have of mine, mine's the original one. I haven't upgraded. I haven't done anything. Mine's like stock, as stock can be, from the 6S.
Is it the 6S?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it is complete stock. I got it like when it came out, because I had a really great December on YouTube because of Star Wars and all the Star Wars RCs. And I had a really great YouTube.
Oh, God, I remember all of those videos.
Yeah, man. I just kind of saw, I did one joke one, and then everybody like watched it, and I was like, oh, holy cow, I need to buy all of these.
Yeah, right.
and do videos on all of them. And so yeah, I got money and I bought an X-maxx with it, and that's how I got into it. So it's still stock ESC, stock motor, stock pinion spur. I've changed one shock shaft because I broke it off on a big air jump. I've had to change out the rims because they crack if you land really hard on them. And
I've heard that, yeah.
I had to do like an A-arm, and I just did a carrier hub and one pinion because a kid ran it into my house at full speed.
Oh, God.
Or not pinion, diff. The front diff got blown. So,
yeah, it's the same
other
thing.
than that, I mean, and I've had it since 2017, 16, whenever they came out.
That's not bad.
It's been a beast.
I mean, I've always wanted to get an X-maxx. I've just never had the funds for it. So maybe this Max, I might just have to pull the trigger on this one and just say, screw it. Let's get it. Let's go have some fun with it.
Right. Well, and we'll look, like some people have their hands on it. RC Car Action, I think it was, I saw had a video already, doing a live video going through it, and it looks cool. This yellow and blue one, it looks like, somebody left a candle on or a crayon box over a flame, and it just kind of fell onto it in some kind of pattern. Not a big fan of this color scheme. Or
no, neither am I.
The Michigan Wolverines threw up all over it. I don't know what it is, but I'm not feeling it, Traxxas. However, they do have some other colors. I don't mind the orange. And maybe that picture's just off, because I haven't seen a yellow one. So maybe that was the orange one with just a really bad white balance or something. I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, yeah, if you look at it, because I'm looking at it too on my other monitor here. It does kind of have a glare to it, so it's possible the yellow is a little brighter than what it really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I saw the blue, gray, black colored one, and I thought that was awesome. Like, that's my colors right there. Like, that's the one I would get. Yeah. As you guys are seeing right now, on the live stream, that just popped up in the video. That would be the one I would definitely get my hands on for sure.
So that's the traditional kind of colorings. They have that in the red and blue. I think like the X-maxx originally came out with.
Yep.
And then they've got, like, I thought there was a silver and blue one on there as well. But
I thought so too.
Some of the specs, have you seen or heard any of the specs on this thing?
Actually, I have the website up with some of the specs on it right now.
All right, hit me.
Actually, I had it up. I don't know what happened. Here we go with technical difficulties. Please stand by.
I have it up, and I'm just ready to scroll to wherever you go.
All right. Well,
there are some people talking in here. While you do that, maybe we'll pull up the chat for a second.
Yeah, definitely.
Read through that. Overkill RC says the plastic drive shafts are a little disappointing. I found their plastic drive shafts to be actually pretty tough.
Actually, since we're talking about drive shafts, and that's the first thing I just pulled up, let's talk about it for a second. What do you think?
Let's talk about it.
All right. Truthfully, I'm looking at it. I am disappointed in the fact that they are plastic going out to the wheels. But here's my thing. The yokes on them do look beefy. The design and setup on it does look like they've kind of reinforced the yoke area quite a bit. And that shaft there in the center definitely looks about the same size as the whole drive shaft, just a hair smaller. So I wonder if it is a lot tougher than what we're used to seeing from Traxxas. And then if you go and look at the center drive shaft, it's an aluminum center where it actually binds right into the diffs, the pinion gears themselves. So I'm curious to see actually how strong it is. It looks strong, considering we're going to be running 4S on this truck. I hope it is strong, but I am seeing some significant changes here than what I'm used to seeing from Traxxas or even other companies. So it kind of has me interested in the drivetrain, definitely.
So now I run these plastic drive shafts on my Freestyle RCs. That's what it has inside of those really bulky, custom-made axles that are solid axle.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had no real issue with them. And they're turning the really big monster truck tires
now,
for
have
racing.
You had splines that all, start twisting? Because, like on the old axial trucks, the splines inside would twist under heavy torque.
No, because these ones are thick, the way that they do it. The thing that does happen is it does break at the metal joint. It'll break out of the plastic, or it'll pull out. Sometimes it doesn't even break. It just kind of
slides out
or pulls it. It's torqued enough that it pulls itself out.
I can see that. Yeah.
I don't understand what that little blue collar is on the end there.
Okay. I don't know if you saw my post on the conspiracy page or not, but I had made a comment asking what is that blue thing, because originally the pictures made it look like it was like a bearing sitting on the outside, and that there was a hex screw. I mean, it was a blurry picture, so I was just kind of making fun of it. But I'm looking at that now, and I'm very curious at why they went about that design versus the original, 6-star screw-on nut that we're used to seeing with the 17 mils. Why did they go back to a 5mm nut versus the old style?
With some kind of a washer, basically, that locks on somehow.
Right. I mean, is that washer... Could that washer be prone to, wearing out very quickly because of all that power and, the friction that's going to build up in that wheel? I mean, that's just a natural thing that's going to happen with the bearings, is they're going to warm up, as you're used. Is that something that's going to wear out constantly? That's my curiosity there.
That's a good question. I'm clicking for details on the website, seeing it doesn't show that particular part of it. So that's why I was curious. That was one of the first things I zeroed in on. They do have some great pictures of the black and blue truck. I think that's my favorite. Again, that's what I bought with my 6S, and I think it's still my favorite of the look. And it is the kind of the silver. It does have a silverish front end, and then it goes back to black in the back. So that's one I was liking earlier.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they definitely got some interesting colors, that's for sure.
So it's
their colors in general lately have been interesting.
Yeah, I like the orange one. I like the green one, actually, the lime green big one. So they do have the proprietary servo again, because it mounts down from the top, the screw downs.
Supposedly it's the same servo as what's in the X-maxx.
Right, which is a proprietary mount.
If I remember correctly, it says right here 285 ounces of torque, which not bad for the size truck.
Right, and so that's one of the things. We'll pull up the RC car action video a little bit later on here, guys, and we'll talk about the size of it, because they're saying 1/10. So the E-Max was a 1/8, right? So this is kind of a big 1/10, kind of, I would say.
Maybe it's like a 1/9.
Maybe. I don't know. They're saying 1/10 is what they're calling it. I don't know what they're basing it on, but everything's really huge looking on it when you put it next to like the Wrestler 4x4. 1/10, it looks pretty huge. All right, so there are a bunch of people here. Travis Paul says Freestyle RC is where it's at. Travis is with the Freestyle RC guys. I saw Hobbytown, Virginia jumped into the chat here, and I'll pull back up. I don't know if you have the chat at all, Matt, anywhere.
Yeah, I've got the chat up here. I mean, obviously, I'm a little more delayed than you. You're seeing the comments before I'm able to.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I can jump on.
Okay. Well, I'm just wondering if you've seen some of them. I did see that somebody was talking about the plastic drive shafts for $550. So that's one of the things I think that's to talk about with the X-maxx. So you start at the $900 price point. What have you taken away, or what have you kept in order to make it worth the $550? Because you've brought it down a huge amount in size. So tires, a lot of things have come down in the ESC, the motor, all of that is a smaller size. Now we've said the servo's the same.
Right. I mean, if you're looking at it, that ESC, I mean, if you see pictures of the ESC, it almost looks like they've made some, it's a different ESC. So there's obviously money being put into the electronics there. It's got a cooling fan on the motor. It looks like it has a whole new design spur gear setup. Looking at it, shock absorbing cush drive. I've never heard the cush drive before, so that's new to me. It doesn't look like it has a slipper clutch. So that, again, there's a whole bunch of technology here. So like you said, where's the down drawer? Is it just the size of the parts is the reason why the price is different? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of new technology, it looks like here.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a smaller motor. It's a smaller ESC. And it's a quite a bit smaller truck. So usually the cost goes up as it gets bigger. And so, like, I look down at other 4S capable trucks, and the pricing is well below what this is coming in at. I mean, even for like a low-C, what is the LST 3 or 3X?
Yeah. It's been a while since I've looked up anything low-C, honestly.
When I get into all the numbers and letters, I get all messed up. But yeah, so we have Craig McClellan in here. People saying, Filthy Co is saying, and JD Passel, that the RC body will come off from bashing. So it is we didn't talk about that. The body clip system is their proprietary. It's their system. It's a no body clip system that has a special locking mechanism that is part of the rails in the body, and it is prone to fly off. I don't know if you've seen that happen before, but my X-maxx one flies off probably twice every bash session, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I've only gotten to see an X-maxx in person once, so I can't really say what I've personally seen or experienced other than just YouTube videos. But that's interesting to hear that the body flies off.
Yeah. It's the clip kind of pulls. If you hit hard enough, it just pops off, and you have to go grab the body and stick it back on. It doesn't break. It just kind of comes off.
Right. I mean, I'm 50-50 with that Traxxas's, one clip body system there. I mean, I think it's a cool concept, and the fact it's one clip, the body comes off, it's nice and easy. You're not going to lose body clips or anything like that. But I'm kind of torn because you really can't change the body around. You're kind of limited to that one style body. And then now hearing that occasionally, if you hit it hard enough, the body kind of pops off. That's not as secure as having a body clip necessarily. I mean, yeah, sure, body clips fall off, but you kind of have 4 posts versus 1 clip.
Yeah, I guess the flip side would be if it's completely locked on, it tears and breaks away there.
Right.
At least it pops off instead of totally destroying the body.
I know somebody had just mentioned in the comments, is it bigger than the Stampede? I'm actually looking that up right now, the specs of the Stampede, and then I'm going to compare it real quick here against the Max.
It does look like it will be bigger to me based on the videos I saw. I mean, it looks substantial. The shocks especially look really large for a 10th scale. So it looks like the Arma 4S vehicle is probably like in size.
Yeah.
Which I guess those are 10th scale, they call them. So, but they are large.
Right. All right. So let's see here.
Somebody had said something that was funny to me because the original X-maxx came out and I paid into it, and then they came out with the 8S version. Like they'd announced it by the end of that year. And so people are like, this is going to happen. And then they're going to announce that this same truck is a 6S in next December. And they're going to sell an upgrade kit to upgrade your 4S to 6. It was kind of a funny post that somebody had put on one of the comments.
Okay, so I'm looking at the specs here real quick, and there is a significant size difference between the Stampede and this. As far as the overall width, it's almost an inch bigger. The Max is an inch bigger in width. It's an inch taller, and it's almost 6 inches longer.
Yeah. I was going to say, the one thing I definitely noticed about it is the length.
Yeah.
I will say, like, going back to the body though, I actually really like the mechanism that they have for putting it on. It's one of them. Every time I put the batteries in and I just have to strap that body on and clip it in, I'm just like, oh, I love this. Instead of having to like fight the body pins and pull them off.
Yeah, and then wear down the body post, and you're trying to remake a new hole.
Yeah, it's just so I like it, but that's just me.
Yeah.
And for the few times it does fall off for me, I'm okay with it. Again, I've broken more bodies from them not coming off.
Right.
I'm trying to go back up through here and see if we've missed any comments. I see Net Cruiser's in there helping a lot with them. He's saying that ugly picture is just washed out. It is the orange and blue one. So that's good to know. Good to know. That was one of the first ones. Dude?
Sorry, I saw RC Emotion in there.
Yeah, man. He was saying hey to you.
Yeah.
So as far as the truck goes, we'll go back and take another look at it here. As far as specs, I think we've gone through most of the details. It is funny, though. I don't know if they've been doing this for a while, but the little revealing thing where you pull to reveal the different parts of the car is a lot like what they just had on the latest Arma Mojave page.
Yes.
Was one of these pull away to reveal.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of interesting. But anyway.
Yeah. What do we got here? 2.8 size wheels, 17 millimeter hexes. I mean, basically the chassis looks exactly like the original X-maxx, just smaller.
Yeah, it looks exactly like it. All right, so here I've got, and you'll see it in just a second, Matt. I've got it pulled up now. He actually tries to put the body on when it's backwards, but he realizes it and turns it around here. and you see a side by side of the Rustler and the X-maxx. So the tires are bigger.
Yep.
It sits tall, and it
Oh, wow.
looks substantially bigger to me than even the Rustler 4x4. So it is not a small 1/10 scale by any means. It would make the Stampede look tiny.
I would love to see that sit next to the e-Revo.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah, and see size comparison.
You know, the new e-Revo didn't seem as big as I thought it would when I saw it in person.
You're right. I expected a little bit bigger. Not by much, just a little bit, but
I was trying to see here if there's anything. He did take the wheel off. I didn't see the little washer thing. I haven't had a chance to watch the whole video yet. I did notice the size thing. I'm curious about what kind of stuff it has built in with the controls, all of that kind of stuff.
yeah.
If it comes with a Bluetooth module or any of that stock. Again, the hard pill for me to swallow is the price. $550 for a 4S rated vehicle seems really high.
I agree.
But people are going to pay it. I'm going to say that at the same time. People are going to pay it because they love the X-maxx.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about all the people that did buy the X-maxx at that price point when it first came out. I mean, it was almost at one point, some hobby stores were selling it for $1,000, if not a little more.
Wow.
I saw pictures of that. You know, so the price point it's at now, I mean, you now are going to widen that spectrum to even more people that are going to buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to see. So they show the picture of it next to the X-maxx, and actually that was the first time I thought, wow, that's not as small as I thought it was going to be. But it's good because it's going to have still that. The thing that I love about the X-maxx, the big one, is like I feel like I can feel it when I'm driving. I know it's a weird thing to say because there's nothing that transfers to my controller when I'm holding it. But the way that it plants and the weight of it pushes into the ground when you're steering and turning and it shifts its weight, it just, the look that you're seeing it makes you feel like you're feeling what it's doing. And so if you went too small, you wouldn't get that kind of weight transfer. And I will say, though, that when they were in the parking lot, they did roll it a lot. And they got it like flipping and going crazy to try and get it back onto the wheels. Very much like an Outcast would, you know, like people make it go crazy and twist and hit all the wheels and flip.
Right.
So that's kind of what it looked like to me, the 4S Outcast.
Now, I know this is obviously going to have that system that a lot of the Traxxas bashers have, is that self flipping mode. So if it lands on its body, you know, you hit a button, it'll self flip itself right. Jeez, can't even speak right now. Have you had much experience with that system? I've heard mixed reviews. Some people saying, you know, it's just going to tear up the drivetrain.
Yep.
Other people are saying, oh, it doesn't seem to affect it at all. What's your theory? Because you have an X-maxx.
I refused to use it after the first time I did it because I feel like the tires pulling like they were in the air like that. I feel like that's kind of what cracked my rims.
Right.
The first time was that pull on them. Because that was the first time I noticed it was after that, and I wasn't doing any super crazy bashing, and so I'm like, did I just blow out my rims?
Right.
You know, doing this feature, like I refused to do it after I tried it one time, and it didn't work. It just kept like going back and forth, and it didn't actually flip over for some reason for me.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I've never done that on any of my trucks. I mean, I remember way back when I first had RCs. Of course, you try it because you're curious to know if the car will flip itself just by hitting the throttle when it's upside down. But I've definitely had drivetrain issues with past cars, but I haven't had any experience with the latest Traxxas stuff to really know. So I'm curious how well it's going to work in this little truck, you know?
they showed it. It did work.
Did it?
Yeah,
Okay.
they were on cement. That doesn't really make a difference, I don't think, a whole lot, but it did work when they did it. But I've done it before with my cars. Just, I'd rather it go and then hit the brake and use that rocking momentum instead of like back and forth.
Right.
Some people do use the self-righting. It's not my jam. I don't like it. RC in Motion says that self-righting, in his opinion, puts too much strain on the drivetrain and the motor. Not only that, the tires will feel most of it due to the turning more and creating more inertia. I think it works best on boats, is what he's saying.
Yeah, I agree to that.
Frankie P says this is an awesome truck. Good job, Traxxas. I really think it is an awesome truck. I think the X-maxx, the original, is awesome. It's one of the easiest trucks ever to work on, in my opinion.
I got an RC conspiracy thought for you.
All right.
The X-maxx started out as a 6S and eventually made its way up to an 8S.
Yes.
This is a 4S.
Uh-huh.
Do you think they might create a 6S?
If they don't, people will. And we'll see how the drivetrain likes it.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that was the joke I heard people seeing. And then they'll sell an upgrade kit for the first adopters, the early adopters like me, who said, forget that.
Right.
6S is good enough. But there's certain people that you're never going to make happy because they want them to go faster and faster and go bigger and higher. And, like, there's a point where I'm happy with it. You know, like, as big as the X-maxx is, there's only so fast I want it to go, because if I hit something or somebody, there's more damage the faster than it's going.
Oh, absolutely. Not only that, but then you're dealing with, you know, the faster you go, you're dealing with tire wobble, you know, suspension play and stuff like that. So you could easily lose the truck if you're not really paying attention, just in general.
Yeah. So there's somebody saying, Chase says, hey, my comments are in the video. Jonathan Ward says, okay, Arma Creighton 4S, $399 versus Traxxas Maxx 4S, $550. That's a $150 difference. And so then the next step down even for me, and so my question is, what am I going to do with this? And I already have an Arma Granite, which is like a 4-wheel drive. On 3S, it goes 50. Like we've put the speedometer on it. You can hit 50 miles an hour with it on 3S.
Yep.
And it's a rocket. It's lightweight. It handles so well in the air. Like, for me, it's like I don't see a need to upgrade. But I do have a big X-maxx, so there's that. And if I'm already paying $550, one, I'm either going to look for a used big X-maxx, or two, I'm going to save up and probably get the big X-maxx, because I just think the big one's awesome.
Right. I mean, here's my idea too, is like you were saying, what am I going to use this for? Because I have the Pro MT 4x4, and that's got the Castle 1/8 scale Mamba Monster X setup in it. I'm already running 4S on that, and the kit version of that truck is $299.
Yeah.
You throw in another $100, $200 into it, you have yourself a pretty decent truck right there. Granted, it doesn't have the big bore shocks. It doesn't have a lot of these little features that the Maxx does. But my question is, what's different between that truck and what I have now, other than a few different components in between it? They're both going to do the same thing.
Part support. That's the big difference.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll give you that one.
So, yeah. That would be the big one. The Traxxas always has a killer line of part support. And so they're everywhere as far as that goes. RC Emotions actually saying, yeah, a lot of people comparing Arma, but I think of it like this. The difference in price is going to be due to parts availability within hobby shops. Not everyone stocks Arma, but everyone stocks Traxxas.
That is very true.
Which is true.
There isn't a hobby store I've ever come across that doesn't have Traxxas.
I would say almost now Arma's the same boat. You're not going to get into, like, I mean, because it's such a big brand now. Like when I always went to Debbie's RC World back in the day before they closed, and they didn't have any Arma at the time.
Right.
So, and there were ones I wanted. I wanted a Creighton, but they didn't stock it. And then they didn't stock parts. And so that was a deciding factor for me. But Arma's like ballooned like crazy since that time 4 years ago, into like having a whole lot more options and basically a huge following of people that are behind them now. Now I do have this up, so that's going to get noted. I do have an Arma banner behind me. I'm not a big, huge Arma guy. I mean, I like Arma cars, but all I have is I have 2 of the Sentin 3Ss BLX, which I just bought a month ago for my kids for racing, because for the price, brushless, you can't beat it. I have the Granite 3S monster truck, which is a $300 truck.
Yep.
And I have the Infraction. I have never driven a Creighton. I have never touched or driven an Outcast or a Notorious or Italian or even a Typhon. or Limitless or the new Mojave. So if I'm going down the line, I'm not like all in like some of the guys are. Like there's those Arma fanboys, like there are the Traxxas fanboys. And I'm just saying I have more Traxxas than I have Arma. Now I have more Horizon Hobby than I have Traxxas, but just trying to, this I just got because it was at an event and it ended and they just said, hey, if you want the banners, they're free. Whoever takes them down, help us take them down. And so I'm like, sweet, I'm grabbing that one. So I got that one in Ascend Racing. And
I actually have a Traxxas banner I just haven't put up yet because I know they're so difficult to get. We were setting up a bashing spot, and Brett, if you're still on here, you remember the bashing spot up in Plymouth. They offered to give us a couple of posters and some stuff to put up there, and there was like 3 banners, so I ended up grabbing one because we didn't need the third one. So I have this Traxxas old school banner that's just packed away that I'm just gonna keep and hold on to.
Yeah, I mean, so that's how you get them. Like they don't send them to me. I didn't get this from the Venom ones were sent to me, but the other ones weren't. Hey, we got Tebow in here, and JTRC is in here as well. I saw RC Basher Boyd come in a little bit earlier, and I didn't get to mention him. But I saw somebody posted it, just scrolled up out of our banner here. Jonathan something. Where'd you go, Jonathan? Jonathan, you're out there. Say something else so we can find you. But he said, Jonathan Ward. He said, you don't need part support with an Arma Creighton. Basically, that it doesn't break. There are people with completely modded out Armas like Rich Duperbash that will tell you that things can break on them. If you send it hard enough, it will break.
Oh, absolutely. You can break anything. It's just how hard are you willing to go?
Yeah. RC Car Rookie, excuse my ignorance, is Arma made by Traxxas? No, it is not. They're kind of competing companies in the RC market. They have a lot of vehicles that do this. Traxxas has a lot of basher type vehicles, like the Slash wasn't made to race, although people do race it. But it was made to be run in a backyard, high center of gravity, chassis to get over the grass. The Bandit's not a racing buggy. So the Stampede's not a racing monster truck necessarily, but they have a lot of cars that are just kind of general bashers, and that's what Arma has as well. So 2 different companies. RC Guys wants a shout out, so there you go. I'm going to jump back over and see. I had a couple of other things pulled up here to look at from it, but I don't see them.
Have you seen the photo of the Traxxas retail store?
Yes, I have.
What's your thoughts?
Okay, I want to pull it up. Did I send you a link to it?
I think, was it you that sent me? I don't know.
I did.
There was so many things going on this morning. I couldn't keep track.
So that's the thing. So let's talk Traxxas as a brand, and already talking about their marketing. So what do you guys think about this? Traxxas has opened up its own retail store. Now, what does that mean for competing retailers? First of all, what does that mean for their brand? It's kind of like if you think about Apple, and Apple for the longest time was only sold in their retail stores because they wanted to have control over how their product was seen, how it was sold, the whole experience. Are you out of coffee? I know you love your coffee.
I am out of coffee.
That is a bummer for you.
It's all good. It's all good.
We can throw in an intermission video. I do have an intermission video if you need to go get a refill.
We'll see. I mean, it's 10 o'clock. I'd like to go to bed at some point tonight, so we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, that's not the video. Shoot. I'm not seeing it. I know that we sent. That's Nerd or Die. We sent a whole bunch of stuff back and forth.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Stream Deck stuff. This thread is really long, and then it goes to... Here it is. Nope.
RCaholic, yes, a 1/10 scale HDR, or I think you meant UDR, would be great. I agree. I'd love to see a 1/10 scale of that exact model, just made smaller. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Mike Darnell. Here it is. I found it. So Mike Darnell posted pictures of himself in line. I'm going to go over to it real quick here, guys.
Yep.
All right, so here is Mike Darnell, and there's Matt's messenger window with me. But here is Mike Darnell in McKinney, Texas. First in line at the new Traxxas retail store. Kind of looks like a Tesla store, kind of the outside design, the gray and red and black. So you guys start hitting us up in the comments with some stuff, what you think about what this means, and we're going to come back to you in just a second. But we'll show you some pictures around that Mike took. So thank you, Mike Darnell, out there for getting us
one thing
these.
I just want to put out is how nice the store looks.
It does. It's got that like shiny cement floor.
Oh yeah, I mean everything's nice and neat inside there, well organized, well displayed. I'd be ecstatic if I walked into one of those. Honestly, I'd probably buy the whole store.
Well, that wouldn't be any good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they do have big stacks of boxes and a happy, smiling worker. That always goes a long way. Oh, that's cool. That actually looks very Arma to me, though. The honeycomb grid pattern on the back wall.
Yes.
I'd never seen that before. So I don't know if you're in his, if you found it, but I'm on the second picture. Yeah, part racks across the walls, the honeycomb wall. We'll call it the Arma wall.
Yeah.
But look at this. Yeah, the truck of the year. So they do, put their, that comes through different rating systems like RC Car Action, different thing. They do polls. And the viewers get to, or the readers get to, or the online people, I guess, nowadays get to put in their 2 cents on what are the cars of the year.
Yep.
So it's definitely very clean, nice and open space. And it looks like it'd be very easy to go in and snatch and grab, which is another thing that I want to have an RC conspiracy about in the future is why do people hit up RC shops and hobby shops so much for theft? It's a question I have. Like, go in and get the big ticket stuff, and like, it's going to be known when it shows up somewhere. There's not that many on the for sale markets and all that. But anyway, it's a different conspiracy about what that is. That's a nice lineup on that back wall, actually, with the UDRs and the TRX4s.
Yep.
It's very nice. The X-maxx lineups with all the different colors. So it went X-maxx UDR, then to the TRX4. That is their really nice wall. Then they have the XO ones. So yeah, it is. So like, we're going to jump over here to the comments. It is cool. They actually show the inside of the UDRs too. They have the body off on one of these.
Yeah, don't mind me. I'm just looking at the pictures as we go through. I'm just like admiring all of it.
Yeah. Stampede. I still am a sucker for the 2-wheel drive Stampede lineup. And then the 8-ton or whatever their drone is. I'm kind of shocked actually that they've stayed in that market. And then Traxxas is the smaller vehicles that they have as well. And then a couple out of focus pictures here. Look like they were slashes. So I'm going to jump back, though, to their comments and see what people are saying. And we're probably going to have to scroll backward through them to see.
What do we got here?
Chris Watson joined us.
All right. Thibault says, I think it can work in big markets, but overall retail is dying, and I think it's a folly for them to take on an overhead of running and retail space. I can see this in both a consumer aspect and a, in Traxxas's aspect, if we want to call it like that. It's great for Traxxas because it's going to put all their products into one building, and you're not necessarily going to think about another company or another product line. You're going to see theirs, you're going to get excited because everything's out and whatnot, and you're going to most likely buy it. However, when you look at it, the consumer standpoint is not everybody is a Traxxas fanboy. They want to be able to walk into a hobby store and they want to be able to buy aftermarket upgrades. I mean, that's definitely a huge part of the RC hobby is buying upgrades and replacement parts from other companies and trying out different things. I think consumer, it's going to be 50 and 50. You're going to hear a lot of bashing about the retail place, but I think you're also going to hear a lot of good things about the retail space. And it also depends on how many stores are they really looking to put themselves in throughout the United States or even the world, depending on if that's where they're going.
Right. I remember in the beginning when I was an early Apple adopter, it was very hard because there was like one store in the state I could go to get stuff. And so when I moved, I had to find a new store, which was like an hour and a half, 2 hours away to go to if I needed any work done or a part.
Right.
And if they didn't have it, then I had to go up to DC to get it. It was kind of really annoying. So there's some good comments in here. People have some good thoughts about this. First of all, Foundry RC says, Dancing Rainbow Unicorn is greater than X-maxx, which is greater than Max. So that's a reference to a Dancing Unicorn video I put out earlier where I got my kids.
I was dying laughing on that.
I got my kids off the bus today dressed up in an inflatable rainbow unicorn. I guess costume. So it was pretty funny. So here's one of them. Net Cruiser says he's got to go first of all. So Foundry says it's a good idea for Traxxas, but it can be bad for the hobby as a whole, in his opinion. Are there things where you could see it being bad for the hobby to have the, I guess, the creator person being the sole distributor?
I can.
And shop. Because you've worked one, right?
Say what?
Because you've worked at a hobby shop before, so you have some of the inside knowledge of kind of how that works too with competing against.
Right, and now as far as some information for some of the viewers here watching, I used to work at a hobby store for almost 2 years, which was like 5 minutes down the road from me, and it's still there, and I still go there, I still say hi, I still get stuff from them. I've known them since I was like, I don't know, 8 years old. But there was also this other hobby store that started up about 30 minutes away from me. And most of you guys know that hobby store, which is called Reckless Hobbies. And they basically took the store that I know that's around the corner from me that I used to work at and make Reckless Hobbies like 5-6 times larger than that. So not only do I know the back end as far as, prices that are coming in, companies, how they think and how they see things, but I'm also talking to Sean up at Reckless Hobbies, and I get some insider feedback as far as the customer side of things go, because he likes to get information from customers, what's working, what's not, this and that. So when this whole Traxxas brought up, they're opening their own store, and like I mentioned, I think it's going to be a 50-50. It depends on how well they work this store and what they actually end up doing with it, because it's kind of up in the air at the moment. It's going to be hard to say, but is it going to hurt the hobby as a whole? Again, I think it comes down to what they're going to plan on really doing with this retail store, what their end goal is with it. I think if they open up their store near other hobby stores, yes, it's going to absolutely hurt the other hobby stores more so than anything. If they open up their stores in places that don't have that many hobby stores or don't have any hobby stores, I think it'd be great for the hobby, because then it's going to get more people into it that didn't have a hobby store around them before, that would have to order things online. I personally will always try to go to a hobby store to buy something because I want it right then and there, versus waiting 5-7 days for it to be shipped from Amazon, because I'm not paying for Prime right now, honestly. But
I was going to say, that's so millennial of you.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's truthfully going to hurt the hobby as a whole or not. I think, like I said, it depends on where they're putting their stores and what their end goal is. If they're trying to take over the hobby, oh, absolutely, it's going to hurt it. But are they trying to be part of the hobby? I think it could work out.
So Tebow says, I think it can work in big markets, but overall retail is dying, and I think it's a folly for them to take on the overhead of running a retail space, which I agree with. I think they definitely had a significant hurt when Tower Hobbies stopped selling their vehicles, because so many people shop at some of those like Tower Hobbies, and so they're not seeing it in front of their eyes anymore.
Right.
So if people aren't going to Traxxas.com to buy it, well, I guess I don't know why I'd take them to Traxxas store, but yeah, I don't know. I think one of the cool things would be is if they could open up some tracks and stuff like that, or something to bring people in. It would be cool.
I agree. I mean, just watching Reckless Hobbies come up from the ground, one of the big things that I discovered from just hanging around there is people would keep coming back to the store that wouldn't necessarily go to a hobby store. And the reason for that is the customer relations aspect of it. again, working back at the hobby store that's close to me, there wasn't very much of a customer relations. There's always, hey, here's your part, have a nice day. Whereas Reckless Hobbies, it's, hey, what's going on? How's your day been? Dude, have you checked this out? We have a track out back. Get to know the customer. And I think more hobby stores need to do that, because when you can build a connection like people do with us YouTubers, they keep coming back, not necessarily buying things online. And I've seen that work by seeing it done at Reckless Hobbies. So I think that's really what needs to happen, is you need to build a customer relations in a store, not necessarily online.
Okay. Who else do we got in here? There's quite a few people coming on this. JTRC says, I think it has really hurt their sales. Not too many large retailers really sell their products. I think A-Main is one of the top one that sells their products, other than that little small other sites. Okay. So he's saying trying to get it out. Now, I've heard other things where Traxxas is also trying to strong arm some of the companies, or the hobby shops, not to sell anything but Traxxas, like to get like an exclusive relationship to sell their vehicles only. So that's interesting too, that they'd be opening their shops. But I'm trying to read them all. It keeps moving as people comment, and some of these are longer.
I know, right? I'm trying to go back through here.
Also, RC in Motion saying that the video he had of the TRX was the R&D straight from Traxxas, just that they've seen some of the stuff ahead of time.
There's one I saw here. I just can't seem to find it.
All the retail shops should fund a few tracks by their stores, since they have the company behind them financially. It's actually very hard because there's not a lot of margin on the cars to bring in money. So you think you're spending a lot for them, they're making a lot of money, but they pay quite a bit of money to get those cars to put on their shelves. And so they've also got a lot of overhead sitting on shelves of money that they don't have access to because it's sitting there.
Yeah, and like you and I were saying earlier, there's no real gain when a company sells an RC truck. It's actually all in the accessories. So that's why you'll see a lot of times, hey, get this truck, but we'll give you 50% off of these batteries. Well, guess what? They're still making a huge profit off of those batteries or the accessories that they're selling with it. So like you were just saying, it's kind of hard with the overhead and everything like that to make a profit on things where it's mostly accessories are what creates the profit for these companies.
Right. Some of them are saying that their hobby shop can't sell Arma because they sell Traxxas. Now that just comes down to whatever they've worked out with Traxxas, if that is the case. I don't know, because there are plenty of them that sell both. I know our hobby shop has everything under the sun pretty much at Hobbytown.
The two hobby stores near me, Reckless and my local one, they both sell Arma and Traxxas, and I've never heard anything like that before. So I wonder if that's a store choice.
Yeah, and so I mean, because it is overhead. And then you've got to stock parts for them too, which is what somebody was saying earlier. You know, you'd buy basically what was based on what you have at your shop and part availability. So if you break something, you can walk in and get a spare part. So I've noticed that like ours has had the Arma lineup, taking up a whole wall now. And there's still a good section of Traxxas stuff, and it's in multiple spots. But I mean, I'm shocked at how much more Arma stuff has been coming out, and partly is because they're offering so many different 4S lines, 3S lines, 6S lines, and so there's just a lot of different variations. But going back to the Maxx, what are your thoughts? Like, okay, so we've talked about it today, we've seen kind of a lot of videos and people's kind of opinions on it. What is your gut reaction to seeing the Maxx?
My gut reaction is I cannot wait to be able to try one. I really am excited for this truck, just seeing it overall. I just want to jump the damn thing. I just want to see that thing fly on 4S, I think that'd be an absolute blast. I think it's going to do very well overall. regardless of any problems that might arise from it, because everything's got problems, obviously, especially the first batch out, that's where they're going to find most of their problems. But I think as a whole, it's going to do very well in the lineup.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'm excited about it. I remember, so I was initially disappointed because there were things that I wanted to see come to market.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of was thinking that this was a possibility, as well as, a Summit upgrade of some kind. But the E-Max especially, that line was missing, and so I'm like, something's got to be coming to fill that. But I was wondering, or I was hoping that they'd do a solid axle instead. We've got enough independent suspension stuff. Let's throw in something different. People are asking for it. So I was disappointed that didn't come, but I did want to see something cool, and this is something cool. It's different. It's not a new color slapped on something old. It's not like new lipstick on an old truck. This is a totally new chassis that they had to build molds for. And yes, it's based off of a larger one, but it's still completely new as in size, and there aren't parts for it.
Right.
Because they're all smaller sizes, and it's all new from the ground up. So that's exciting to see. I think it's going to be tough as nails. When you look at the size for a 10 scale of those arms and the shocks and the chassis itself, it's 10 pounds. The car is about 10 pounds for a 10 scale truck. So there's a lot of plastic and metal and stuff.
That's a beefy truck. If you think about it, 10 pounds, that's a lot.
So, and somebody showed that, they posted that up. And so I don't know if that's shipping weight with other stuff all combined, but it seems to be substantial. And so I'm excited to see that. I am kind of sticker shock, It's like, you guys need to stop hanging out with Mercedes because their pricing scheme is rubbing off on you, and we want you to be more kind of in the Jeep range.
I have a feeling, though, give it some time, just like the original X-maxx, the price did come down a little bit on it.
Yeah.
I say give it some time, and most likely this Max will probably lower a little bit in price as well.
Right.
But I think actually, think about it right now. All the companies are posting all these new vehicles out and stuff like that. It is the prime time, considering Christmas is right around the corner.
Right.
So why not try to push for top dollar and get everything you can get now for it to cover your expenses for originally creating this vehicle.
Right. And
then after that, it's play money for them.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that they stuck this in, so, it's kind of like the 4S line. That's, Arma's been neat in the way that they're naming things is based on battery, which is kind of, is great. Makes it very obvious for people as far as what you're going to get. And so I did want to clarify, too, because people are talking 60 miles an hour or whatever on the box. They said 55 miles an hour stock out of the box, and that is with the pinion and the gearing that you get with it on 4S. You can make it go with the optional gearing that you buy 60 miles an hour that they mention, but it's not included. But
the gearing isn't included?
It says optional. So I don't think it's included. I could be wrong. It says optional. We might have to look that up really quick.
Yeah, I still got the site up. I'll take a
on the very bottom. It mentions it's got their chart. I do see this having more body options coming forward as well, which is exciting. But what really is kind of got me excited, and it's kind of silly, and my dog's just looking at me like, hey, I need to go outside. Which side are you on? There you are. So we're going to end in a minute here, but...
optional gearing sold separately.
Sold separately.
See your hobby
I thought so.
dealer. Yep.
So yeah, so it doesn't even hit 60 out of the box for a $550 truck. It's kind of... But again, going back to what I was going to say is, what's fun for me and what I've been thinking about for like the past 2 hours is, okay, they've kind of taken something and they've put it in that 4S lineup, kind of what Arma just released is 4S. Yep. And I'm like, well, okay, Arma, ball's back in your court. And why don't you take your 4S vehicle and make it like the 8S vehicle that's the X-maxx size that everybody wants. So hopefully, we're talking Christmas. Hopefully something like that. Conspiracies, going. And it's something that's been around as a long time as a conspiracy. And I was just talking with JT on the phone earlier. And we were talking about, how cool and Arma still got something up their sleeve. They've been talking about and hinting at it in some of the forums we're watching, and I'm like, man, wouldn't that be the card to pull out right now? Would be that.
Oh,
That big
if they were to do
rig.
it right now, that'd be perfect timing.
Be like, oh, attention back on us, please, everybody, we're here.
Yep.
So it's just kind of like this back and forth that's going on right now with like, hey, Axial, we got a 6x6. Traxxas, like, so do we, and ours is a Mercedes.
Yep.
And then, you know, so yeah.
I'm curious to see where this Arma Traxxas relationship's going to end up in a couple, a year or 2 years from now. Like, they're going to still battling it out, or what's going to happen,
Well, I guess here's the good thing, right? When you go to Home Depot, what's always next door? Lowe's. There's almost always a direct competitor right next door, and they're driving and pushing each other and making it better for the consumer.
True. I mean, the closest Lowe's for me is like 45 minutes away, and
oh, really?
Home Depot is 5 minutes around the corner.
Okay. Well, so it doesn't work in your scenario. But a lot of times, they're right next door to each other.
Yeah.
And so that's always been funny to me. Or like Best Buy was next to Circuit City for so long. Like they'd always camp next to each other. The furniture stores are like always in a row. Like and you go from one to the next. And so I think it's kind of the same way as like these two have kind of found this battleground. They've been hitting it hard at each other. But I think in the end, it brings competition, and competition is good for who?
Yes.
Us.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, yeah, if I can't find the thing that I need at Home Depot, I go to Lowe's. I don't like to, but that's not necessarily because of Lowe's as a whole. It's just because my Home Depot, I just, the people there are so friendly and whatever, so you get these like little biases, like, oh, they don't talk to me when I go to Lowe's, but that's not every time. It's just like I had one day where they didn't, and I kind of use that as a reason not to go for right now. And so that's kind of like the whole fanboy things and the.
Yeah, I mean, the Lowe's, when I go to it, I mean, they have a million items, like 10 times more than my Home Depot. But like you said, nobody talks to you.
Yeah.
It's like they all just like vanish. It's like, okay, where is everybody?
Oh, shoot. Somebody came in and they're going to have questions.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So, you get both crowds. And I have blue buckets and I have orange ones, those $3 5-gallon buckets. I got both. Yep. I even have a Walmart one now.
Oh, boy.
I needed. I got a blue or white Walmart one.
The big competition right there.
Right. But, yeah, anyway, I think it's good. I think that I'm excited to see that Traxxas, one, they updated the X-maxx by going a different route. It was smart. I think the design is so well done in the X-maxx that's the way to go with that truck.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been needing an update for such a long time now. I'm excited to see that they've done that. I'm curious to see if their next vehicle will have something to do with the Slash. Honestly, I mean, as much as we want a solid axle truck to come out, I wonder if they might update the Slash at this point. They've updated almost everything else, but not the Slash.
Right. Well, will they update it? It's such a working platform with so many things in it.
It's true.
Parts support, all that kind of stuff. The question for me was when they were talking about the axle sizes or the servo sizes and all that for this thing was, is this going to be a 5th scale? Because that would have been really cool, like a 5th scale Slash or even a 6th scale. That would have been another stick it to them kind of a thing.
That would be cool to see.
So
that would be really cool to see.
I was kind of wondering about that because, that everybody's working on something behind the scenes right now.
Oh, absolutely.
And they've got to be working on next year's stuff now, or been working on it months ago, just on the amount of time it takes to bring to market. So.
All right.
But,
now, I got a question real quick here. I know you're kind of trying to finish up, but for the viewers, I mean, we've already talked about it. As the viewers as a whole, what do you guys want to see next from Traxxas? Regardless if you like Traxxas or not, what would be something you'd be interested in seeing? Definitely post it in the comments. I'm curious to see.
All right. Let's go back to those comments and see what we got. And I know that they were all kind of talking about different things for a second there. They're talking about different channels.
Yeah, I think they've started their own conspiracies.
They've got their own conspiracies going. You're right.
Solid axle MT.
Yeah.
Scott likes a semi idea.
Yep, Traxxas motorcycle. You know, I kind of
cool.
wondered about that with the Losi one when they had that kid at that BMX park thing or whatever, and they had the bike sitting up there. I was like, man, that would kind of be neat if they came out with a dirt bike.
Yeah.
Or even a mountain bike. The guy has their little legs moving. That would be really it would break all the time. It'd be a terrible idea. So, Chris, yeah, solid axle, monster trucks, semis. I really think those could be interesting market things that they could bring out.
Ooh, Chase made a good one. He'd like to see an 8S UDR.
Ooh.
Could you tell the rooster tails on that thing?
I just felt like that thing needed to be bigger. That was my thing when I saw it. Was like, okay, so it's bigger than a 10th scale, but it's not. It's kind of somewhere between the 5th and that would have been kind of my thing. So yeah, several affordable 4-wheel drive brushless under $500. They do have that with the Stampede, or not the Slash. There's under $500 VXL stuff.
Yeah. New X01 1/8 buggy. Bring back the dragster.
New X01. What's going on,
dude?
Bucks
I'm
RC
still trying
World?
to get my hands on even like a used X01 because I just want one to have it. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those cars to collect, in my opinion. Like, I don't know.
They're sharp looking.
Maybe not. Yeah, they're cool looking, in my opinion.
Scott says a tank. Interesting.
Do you think that they would paint it with a whole bunch of Crayola coloring?
I know, it doesn't fit with their color schemes.
Right.
A new Stampede 4x4 would be great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Solid axle one. Like, keep your 2-wheel drive, independent suspension. I don't think you need that inner one. Like, there's that middle. You've got the X-maxx, and you've got the 4-wheel drive Stampede. I think that could be your solid axle lineup, and then have the Stampede or the 2-wheel drive Stampede. Because you've got the Rustler. If people really want a 4-wheel drive independent suspension, you've got the Rustler already, 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let's get ready to wrap up here. Matt, you want to say anything final before we go?
I think I'm good right now. I mean, I think we've kind of covered everything that we were originally talking about the last 2 nights.
Yep.
I mean, the Max thing kind of blew me away this morning. I was so excited to talk about it and just share it with everybody. So I'm glad we were able to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, RC Master says a plane or a helicopter. That is a huge market. That would be something interesting to jump into. Foamies and stuff. I could see that being a good marketplace for them. I'm always surprised at how many plane people there are out there. It's a big market.
I mean, we have our own club right around the corner from me that I was part of for a while, and there's like almost 150 guys in it.
Wow. That's yeah. Yeah, and there's money. Like when at RC Fest, when I went to that this past year, I was shocked at how many planes and people and how much of what they were doing was focused around the planes. It's a big market. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in again to another RC Conspiracies. We'll definitely have more coming for you guys. There's a whole bunch of stuff we didn't even talk to you about. There was the Kyosho Ultima that was kind of teased. There was the Kraken, which finally the Striker has some video footage of it running. You can see.
I'm excited for the Striker, by the way.
Are you excited? Well, then let's quickly just show pieces of this video.
Yeah, dude. I was actually talking to Kraken about it. Oh man, you guys need to get over there right now and show him some support. Throw your email at it, because the more emails that he gets, he knows that more people are interested in it, and it's gonna make it so that it actually comes out and happens. He's kind of tossing the idea right now. But this thing, it looks incredible in my opinion. I'm like stoked for it.
Yeah, so it's definitely throwing some dirt around. They have some jump footage of it. It's still teaser. It's still prototype 3D printed parts, so I'm sure that they were a little bit easy on it, just because of the plastics being used.
Yep.
I've got to be killing my bandwidth right now with all of the streams and stuff going on, incoming, outgoing. So that's all the tease we'll get. But definitely go check out that video. Check out their Indiegogo. You can find them on Facebook. The Kyosho was they have a few of these old cars. They're doing like repops of the old ones, like Tamiya's been doing. They've done the Optima Gold, which Basher Boy likes. The Optima, they had the Javelin, which I think is super cool. That's so old school 80s RC from when I was a kid. And then they had a new one that they're showing here, which is just a teaser of the Kyosho Racing Team of their Ultima that is coming, the off-road racer. So anyway, just kind of a cool sneak peek of some stuff. And then also not Cross RC, but King Kong has a 2-wheel drive truck coming as well, rear wheel drive.
Yeah, you were showing me that. That thing looks pretty interesting.
So they have it outside on dirt. It'd be like a street truck. It wouldn't be a crawler, but it's pretty sick looking. That's kind of the news in a nutshell, and we're gonna let you guys go with a little bit of music here, and leave you with the outro screen to just look at that Maxx a little bit more. So thanks for tuning in again, guys, and have fun making those conspiracies, and make sure you get a t-shirt like this. If you don't have one, they've got stickers as well there now, like these. I just got some. It's like $5 for a 5x7 with 9 stickers that you can cut out on it. You can show your support, and we'll catch you next time. See ya.
See you guys.